Here we have verse 15 of the 8th chapter of the Gospel of John, Jesus continuing a conversation with the religious leaders who have been accusing him of bearing false witness on the basis that he is the only one making these extravagant claims concerning himself. Jesus, of course, responds, pointing out that he actually has firsthand knowledge of the information that he's providing to them, kind of rising above the technical points of the law that they're trying to invoke, and simply asserting to them that they are missing the point, that he is, in fact, by virtue of his knowledge of his own origins and his own destiny, able to give them a reliable and responsible assessment of his identity. He explains in some ways what the problem is with their view of him when he says in verse 15, humeis. This is the second person pronoun, nominative plural, so you, and the very fact that it's present, of course, makes it emphatic. So you, with emphasis, kata, according to tein sarka, according to the flesh. So according to kata is the preposition that takes the accusative, in this case meaning according to, and then tein, the article of the accusative case. This is the feminine and singular. So, and sarka, of course, is the word it goes with. So kata, tein sarkan, according to the flesh, and then kreneta. This is not the word katakreno, I condemn, but simply the word judge. To assess would be maybe a better English word here. Second person plural, present active indicative. So you, according to the flesh, judge. You judge according to what you see. The formula here is not katasarka, which is sometimes used elsewhere to mean according to the flesh, meaning in some kind of negative or pejorative sense, usually in contradiction to according to the spirit or some idea like that. But this probably has more the idea of simply meaning that they evaluate based on what they see. And on that basis, of course, they're really missing the point. It almost represents a kind of invitation to look deeper, to consider more thoughtfully the claims that Jesus is making. And that seems to be reinforced by the next phrase here, ego. So again, this is present along with humeis, so the two are standing in a contrast to one another. Ego, emphasis here, the negation, kreno, same word that we have here, except now it's the first person singular, present active indicative. I do not judge anyone. At this point, the udenna, it's the masculine singular accusative, I do not judge anyone. There's been a lot of conversation among commentators as to what exactly to make of Jesus saying this. I think the best sense of it probably is simply that Jesus, at this moment in his career, is not here to judge. He has said elsewhere that he didn't come into the world to judge the world, but that the world through him might be saved. Manifestly, we learn elsewhere in the New Testament that Jesus, in fact, is going to be in the capacity of judge, and that that is part of his overall responsibility in the story of human experience and history. The Apostles' Creed, of course, famously says he will come to judge the quick and the dead, and most of the great creeds of the church have agreed. That's clearly enough part of the New Testament message. But his original coming, this time when he's here in his human form, it's not a time in which he's trying to condemn or play the role of the judge. And so really this does represent a kind of a continuing invitation. You're looking at me according to the flesh. You're not seeing what's really going on here. A bit of an invitation to look more deeply. And part of that invitation implies that I am not going to judge you or condemn you in the process, but in fact, the very opposite seems to be the case.